So Microsoft has revealed a lot of information about Gears of War 4 and its upcoming different packages and bundles and what's happening with the DLC and the release structure. So Gears of War 4 comes out on October 11th and I am crazy stupid excited because I love Gears of War. I've enjoyed all of the games, even Judgment, which I know a lot of people didn't really like. The first game is probably one of my favorite shooters of all time. It's the game that kind of got me into online gaming and competitive stuff and what it was like to use Xbox Live and, voice chat while playing a video game. It was awesome. It totally changed the way I looked at games and shooters and stuff back when it came out in 2006, which is insane, 10 years ago. Gears of War 4 coming out this year, and we've only seen a snippet of it. There was a beta that was available during E3 last year. I was not able to get into it. I tried over and over again, and I was having problems getting my code and access to work right. It was just a big mess. We did see Microsoft's on-stage demo of that nighttime sort of battle with that big monster for Gears of War 4. Looks awesome. I totally believe in the game and think it's going to be great. Now, what I'm talking about today real quick is this recent information where they announced that Gears of War 4, in no huge surprise, is going to have a season pass, a $50 season pass. This is just the new unfortunate norm of the world that we live in today's gaming age with the internet and all these things. And it's interesting because I think that game companies are getting to the point where they at least understand if they're going to do stuff like this, they need to really give us substantial content. And that's kind of what's happening here. So there's basically the base Gears of War 4 game, the typical $60 game that you would purchase just like you're purchasing any other game. It's going to come with its campaign, which I think is going to be probably phenomenal. And it's going to come with its online multiplayer mode, which I pretty much think is going to be phenomenal like usual, but I'm a little bit worried because of what they've announced with the Season Pass. Now, the Season Pass, again, just announced for $50, includes some trivial BS stuff that I really could care less about, and I don't think warrants being any sort of paid DLC. And it's like character skins and weapon skins, and I know that Gears of War, for as much as I love this series, has been really into this weapon skin thing for the last few entries, and I guess that's cool. I don't really care about it. I think that this is all stuff that should just be included as unlockables in the game, honestly. I'm thinking about making a video about this, but when I was on the Juices Loose podcast yesterday, I kind of brought up the notion that DLC and microtransactions today are killing the idea of unlockable content in games, and that's what we used to do during the 6th and 7th generation, and even way back in the 16 and 32-bit eras. And that was great. And that kind of seems to be dying nowadays, and this is kind of a good example. Character skins and weapon skins and different outfits and stuff for your characters, I just think that stuff should be included in the game. Gears of War 4 should just say, hey, if you do certain missions or you get certain achievements or you find this secret or you find items spread throughout the campaign, then you get these things and you've unlocked or found these secrets. Instead, they're part of a $50 season pass where it's like, hey, I know you bought the $60 game, spend a little bit more and you can change the color of your Lancer. It's like, whatever. I guess some people really dig it. So, if that's your thing, I guess it's your thing. That stuff doesn't really bother me here or there. Now, the rest of the season pass is the actual interesting portion where there are a total of 24 different maps. They're calling it a permanent DLC map ownership for 24 plus maps, or 24 or more, and it's probably just going to be 24. And what that means is you get at least 2 maps per month for 12 months. And they mentioned private play on dedicated servers. I mean, that is really cool, but I don't know why that wouldn't just be for everything in the game, but whatever. I don't even want to get into that. What I think is very interesting is this 2 maps per month for a year. That is actually, considering we live in the era with DLC stuff, and especially for multiplayer content, Call of Duty set this precedence many, many years ago where the game comes out with a bunch of maps, but then you can pay more to get packages of new maps later. And that has been okay. That really hasn't bothered me too much. And Gears of War 4 is kind of taking that to the extreme, and they're taking what Battlefront tried to do, and they're just embarrassing EA and Battlefront. And again, I say that as a huge fan of Battlefront as far as just what it tried to do, and I do really enjoy that game. The Season Pass and DLC stuff has not been awesome. And Microsoft is pretty much doing this right. They're saying you're going to consistently roll out new maps for the next year. 2 maps per year is actually awesome, or 2 maps per month for a year is actually awesome. That is consistent content. I mean, for anyone who plays games competitively online in any sort of genre, I think that your play arenas and your maps, that's one of the most exciting things you can do to add content and make it fun and something that you want to keep playing. At least for myself, playing new maps is what keeps games interesting. That's exactly what Nintendo did with Splatoon. Now, obviously, Nintendo really killed it with Splatoon because they have done every single update for that game, tons of maps, tons of weapons and content, all for free. The difference is Splatoon, the initial game, I have to admit, did release with not much content. Gears of War 4 is going to release with a fully fleshed out campaign. To me, that's the bulk of my money. That when I spend money on Gears of War 4, it's the campaign I'm buying. The multiplayer stuff is definitely kind of superfluous extra stuff. And that's the difference where Splatoon kind of had to roll out more stuff because they didn't release what felt like a super complete game. But it is awesome that they did it all for free. Microsoft is doing what pretty much every other company, what every other company is doing in the gaming industry, and they're charging you DLC prices and season pass prices for them. And as much as it totally sucks and blows that this is how we live, it's just kind of getting to the point where it is what it is. And I'm such a Gears of War fan that I'm probably going to look into purchasing some stuff. I don't know if I'm going to get the season pass yet, but what I do have to continue to bring up here is the fact that they're going to release new maps every single month absolutely blows my mind. So super cool. It does make me consider the season pass, and even though I don't like the idea of having to buy a season pass or spending $50 on top of the game I've already bought, I do have to say that this is in the world that we live in of DLC and season pass, this is an amazing value. Again, I don't think it should even exist this way. There shouldn't be season passes, but considering that we've had season passes and DLC for the last couple of years, this is the best use of the concept yet. So I do have to give that one credit to Microsoft and the Gears of War team for what they're doing here, because I do think that's a hell of a value. And it's something that it actually has me considering it just because I'm a Gears of War fan. Now, one last thing I want to bring up with how they're kind of packaging this together. There is the base game for $60. There is the season pass for $50. There's also an ultimate edition that costs $100, so it's basically $10 less than buying the two separately. And for $100, you get all of this stuff. You get the original base game and you get all the season pass stuff. Now, it's dangerous freaking territory to get into justifying, quote unquote justifying, not truly justifying, but in the eyes of a lot of gamers, justifying the idea of spending $100 on a game. This isn't like the other Ultimate Editions that games have done, and even Gears of War has one of these where it's like $150 or $250 and you get this, statue and this huge map wall poster and all this extra like physical stuff. This is just talking about the game and its content, selling it for an Ultimate Edition price of $70, $80, $100. Now, it's dangerous territory because what they're probably trying to do is see how many people are going to buy a $100 version of our game to get all of the content. And if enough people start doing this with this game and other games over the next, 2 to 5 or so years, developers are going to start to realize they can take the content that should be in the regular $60 version of any game, and they're going to start selling them for $80 or $100, and that's going to become the normal price. And that's scary. That's really, really scary to me. And it's why I vowed this. If, in fact, I was going to look into purchasing the Season Pass for Gears of War 4, which, like I mentioned, I'm considering, I absolutely will spend the extra $10 or whatever dollars and buy them separately so that Microsoft can see that, I can add to the numbers of people not buying the $100 version of their game. I bought your $60 version. And then I decided later maybe I'll spend some money on your DLC, but I am not going to buy a $100 game. I'm just not going to do it. I think that it's kind of a compromise I'm trying to find as somebody who loves Gears of War, wants to play this extra content, but I don't want to send them too much of the wrong message. I mean, I acknowledge it's kind of part of the problem even to look into buying DLC and a season pass. I get it, you guys, and I'm just going to have to be the villain in this one respect and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing it because I love Gears of War, and I will admit that 2 maps per month for a year is a really awesome value for a game in a series that I already do enjoy. I know that it's kind of like not the best thing to do, but you know what? I feel like not buying the $100 version is hopefully going to find a good balance for how this stuff can play out and how I'm going to feel for myself doing it this way. I would not feel good buying a $100 version of a game, but I'd feel better buying a $60 version of a game and then maybe a couple weeks or months later buying some DLC or the season pass to get all the content for a game that I love. But I'm going to make sure that I actually like the multiplayer in Gears of War 4 enough before I even do that. I don't want to buy anything yet until I've played the game. That's definitely a philosophy that I want to stick to here. But the last piece of news about the $100 version of this game, the Ultimate Edition of Gears of War 4, is it also gives those players 4 days early access to the game. So Some people are really, really mad about this. And, I feel like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I would have also been mad about it because it is something that I think it warrants a little bit of like a double take, like, whoa, excuse me. Like, whoa, what are you guys doing? I don't know if that's really fair to offer people that. And you're basically saying, oh, pay extra money to play the game early and blah, blah, blah. And when I thought about it, it's like, I don't know that I really care. I don't think it's that big of a deal, you guys. I do think it's a way they're trying to rope people into buying these $100 versions of games. So that part I don't like. But as far as just like the concept of it, like if you buy the special version of our game, you get to play it a couple days early. It's like, that's fine. I don't really care. 4 days isn't going to kill me for a game like this. It does kind of confuse me because if I was going to be someone buying the physical version of the Ultimate Edition of Gears of War 4, how do I play the game 4 days early? Do I get to buy it 4 days early? I mean, I just don't understand. It probably gives you a code to just download like a 4-day early beta of the multiplayer. That's what I'm going to guess it is. But I don't know. That's why the whole digital age is just dumb to me. It confuses things that should be this simple. If I could like go to a store and pick up and take home my Gears of War 4 days earlier because I bought that edition, that would even sort of, I don't know, that would be interesting or neat to me. I still wouldn't do it, but it kind of has more of a value to me. Like, oh, I can take my physical game home from your store 4 days earlier because of the version I bought. It's like, that basically means like my release date would be moved up a couple of days compared to other people's because of the version that I bought. And I do think that's kind of neat. The only problem is it's that $100 version that I don't think anyone should really buy or support, and I certainly won't. So, and again, the confusion with the digital stuff, I don't even know how that would happen. It's interesting. I think it's mostly for people who are just buying this game digitally completely. And, if somebody's buying this game digitally and they want to buy that stupid $100 version, shame on you for buying the $100 version. But if you want to do it to play the game 4 days early, I think that's fine. I'm actually not too mad about it. But like I said, I know a lot of people are very upset about it. And it's not like they don't have good reason. I get it. It's not great. It is kind of furthering the wrong precedents overall in gaming. But I think I don't know. I feel like that is just kind of fairly harmless. So I'm not too terribly worried about that part. But that's kind of my feelings there. That's what's going on with Gears of War 4 and the early access and the DLC and Season Pass. There's some good things and some not good things happening here. It's very interesting. I'm just excited for the initial game and the campaign. So that's where I'm going to focus my attention and energy and excitement on for Gears of War 4. And when the game comes out, I'll play the campaign, and I'll probably love it, and I'll talk about it then. I'll play the multiplayer, and I'll probably love that too. And we'll see how much multiplayer content is in the initial release. I'm a little bit worried it might not be enough, but I'm going to hope that that's not true, because all of the other games had a good amount of content. And they also had DLC. So with any luck, the multiplayer stuff available on the initial game is going to be great, and I'll play it and love it, and then I'll consider and see if the Season Pass stuff makes sense at that time. But I will never buy a $100 version of your game, Microsoft, or anyone. I'm not going to do that. You guys are not going to get those things out of me, at least not for the foreseeable future. Maybe in 5 years that things start to change, but I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. Either way, that's what's happening with Gears of War 4. Overall, I'm excited for the campaign. What do you guys think about this news? Does it make you ragefully angry like I think it will, and it also probably should? Do you maybe not care? Do you see some positives and benefits to it like I do, or are you just overall think it's just the shittiest thing ever? You guys tell me, share your thoughts below. Thanks as always for tuning in. This is Robert Rule of 2 Review, and I'll catch you guys next time on another video.